All right, welcome to another video from the chart readers. This is only the second time I've made this one, but there was a lot of movement on this. I really regret not doing it sooner. But today we will be looking at the banks and lenders. So not a lot of tickers actually. We only have 6 in this one, but like I said, there's actually been a lot of movement in these ones. Nonetheless, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to do the daily and the weekly. We're going to look at our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines, and then once we're done up here, we're going to use the MACD and the RSI as our lower indicator. So the last time I made this video was around the 12th of October, so really about 3 weeks ago. And obviously today we saw a real big boom, right? So I'm going to focus obviously a little bit more on today. Earnings came out. They weren't great, but hey, they weren't horrible. And in a lot of ways, I think that's actually reflected on the day today. So it's weird. You see a +5, but you see a horrible red candle, right? What does that mean? Look, when I remember seeing this thing around 12%, 13%, I think at the first time I saw SOFI. So people definitely bought up here. This stock opened up here. It gapped up hard, right? Again, we've said it. If you can break some lines, this 2 cluster right here, you can fly, right? Unfortunately, it just tanked, right? I mean, again, you still have a +5% day, but there were probably more losers than winners, especially for anyone that, decided to jump on the SOFI train. Look, SOFI has a lot of love from retail investors. I see a lot of people really passionate about this ticker, right? I'm not here to talk good long-term versus short-term. I'm, a swing trader, right? There's definitely a lot of positivity to be said, though. So, sorry, I'm zooming out way more than I need to. Let me just do this real quick. I normally don't do trend lines on this video. But you can see that this downtrend has pretty much, even if we go up to this one, right, we're still above what does look like a downtrend, right? So I like that we got over the 50. Clearly, we haven't been over the 50 since right here, right? So I just obviously wish it did a little better, in terms of today. That said, look, since we made the video on the 12th, what's been happening, right? It was struggling to get over the 8 right here, basically in the beginning of end of 2 weeks ago, beginning of last week is really when it started to make the move. Definitely some pressure to get over the 50. And like I said, today, good gap up from the earnings, just didn't really close where we wanted. That said, at this point, I'm going to be watching the 50. Maybe this comes down, hits the 50, goes up. Hey, maybe tomorrow this actually goes up and breaks the 100. I think both of them are pretty realistic. I love how up the 8 moving average is looking. I like that we have green over red, green over red. This is actually at the 0. It's no longer negative, which is nice. And the RSI still has some room. So unfortunately, this is a little more shaky than I'd like to say. But overall, this is bullish. As long as we don't lose the 50 and we bounce up, hey, this definitely can make its way to the 200. And that's basically the last line I have up here, right? You can make one line, I think, right here. I'll throw that in there. Yeah, kind of in the middle of where this line was and the 200, right? But yeah, I definitely would keep this on the radar. Again, look, that's a good weekly right there as well, right? Obviously, it's still a little early in the week. You can see the dramatic movement from today and yesterday, right? But over the 8, we're over the 8 so far. We're doing better than last week's candle so far. Obviously, still early in the week, right? But yeah, I think this has a shot at maybe trying to make another attempt at breaking the 20. It's been a long time since we've been over the 20 on the weekly, right? So yeah, overall, SOFI, I would say bullish. I think some people might have gotten in a little too early. I could even, like I said, see this coming down a little bit more, but doing a bounce up. So well worth keeping this on your radar. All right, Bank of America. Look at this. Literally the day after. Is this the 13th? Yeah, the day after I made the video. I'm not sure if it was earnings or what it was, but I mean, monster raise to over the 20, right? Literally over the 20 on that day. From there, not the prettiest of days, but hey, at least it did stay over. And then, I mean, we gap up to these and then really just start riding the 8 at that point, right? And it also smashed every single one of my lines up here, right? This was obviously a test on this day. This was a test on this day. Actually, it was used as a bounce as well. We can almost even say it was probably these two. But nonetheless, I mean, Bank of America did a really good job of playing these support lines as well as the moving averages, right? We're coming up to the 200. The 200 is a very, very big resistance, right? It's literally our last moving average before it's just, beautiful blue skies. It looks like the RSI is getting a little tired, right? I always say 80 is a pretty good cap on the RSI. This one's pushed to 85, right? So I think with the 200 looming, the high RSI, I could definitely see this calming down just a little bit. But look, a healthy pullback would be come down, hit the 8, and then go back up again, right? So, but yeah, Bank of America just crushed it since the last video and had a beautiful 3 weeks, right? Pretty much breaking, and then riding the 8, right? That's what we like to see. Once you're over most of the clusters, you just ride it till the next one, right? And so, and then again, if this could break, look, just plenty of blue skies up here, right? So let me make a couple new lines since we're trending up here. I'll put one here from that guy. I'll put one here from that guy. And then we'll put one, I'll do it here. I'll take the up instead. Oh, perfect. Don't move. Nice. It didn't move. I took the up of that guy. Okay. I think that's a good couple lines up. Yeah, we're pretty much sitting on one and it's right on the 20, right? So, but yeah, nonetheless, beautiful, beautiful climb. And again, think about this. Bank of America is not a very big tech company, right? Obviously they have an app and they have a website, but this is pretty much a brick and mortar, hold some money. This is a Dow Jones company. The Dow has done really well the last couple weeks, really. And you can see that translated here, right? So again, that's a good way of using the major markets. The Dow has been good. So maybe look away from tech and look at, these staple companies, right? Like banks. And look, you'll see it on the next one. Oh, hold on. Let me do the weekly. Sorry about that. Real quick on the weekly. Look at that weekly. Dirty, dirty, dirty. That got me excited. I'm not going to lie. Breaks this cluster and then just killer 3 weeks, right? So again, you can see it a lot smaller here. A beautiful 3-week weekly translates to a beautiful 3-week daily, right? So nice. WFC, Wells Fargo, pretty much an identical chart, right? Like, look at that. This is Wells Fargo. This is Bank of America. Pretty much the same shape. The one thing I do like, if you look at Wells Fargo, we've actually broken the 200, and today looks like a beautiful confirmation, right? But literally the exact same thing. It bounces off the line, tests this line, bounces off the off the 50, and then pretty much rides the 8 all the way up. So yeah, destroyed the 3 lines that we drew. Do I have any new lines up here? I don't, so let's make a couple new ones. This actually does look really good. Again, the RSI is a little high, but I'll be honest, this looks better than Bank of America. So there is still a chance, even though it does have the high RSI, this might still make, I don't know, maybe a move to 50 right here, because there's not too much in the way. In fact, from here to here is almost that gap fill right there, you can kind of call it. So this might have some room to keep going to 50, even with that high 84. Again, worst case, I could see it easily just coming to the 200, a little healthy drop, and then a bounce back up, right? So I talk about healthy drops often on these videos, right? There's nothing wrong with a healthy bounce. So I think that's a good couple lines up. Let's take a look at the weekly. We'll zoom in. Again, the exact same thing. Not as pretty as we saw on Bank of America, but nonetheless, right? You break the cluster, you go on up. And yeah, at this point, the weekly is trying to break all 5 of them, right? 4 down here, 1 right here. So again, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, these are literally just buildings holding money, right? There's not a lot of tech in that. So it makes sense why those two did a lot better than SOFI, which is also trying to be this tech company, right? Rocket, I think Rocket is in that group of, is it NASDAQ, is it tech? It definitely wants to be a little more tech than it probably needs to be. And I think that's what kind of held this back when you compare it to Bank of America and Wells Fargo. But really, look, this isn't too bad a chart, right? Again, the last time I made this video was the 12th, and I'll be honest, I was a little pessimistic on this thing. Struggling to get over the 8, obviously struggling to get over the 20 right now, and it really, really looked like we were going to lose this 637, right? I mean, it just, when you can't hold the 8, it just makes me naturally think we are going to lose this. This line definitely came into play a lot, especially last week. But hey, it looks like we were able to get over this cluster of the 20 and the 8, right? Coming up to the 50 right here, and again, zooming out, the 50's also been another challenge, right? But I'm not sure if this one's reported earnings yet or not. Maybe the fact that SoFi did all right could help with this one. But yeah, overall, I would just kind of consider the major markets, right? The Dow has been better than the NASDAQ. So this Rocket and SoFi kind of on the line of Dow and NASDAQ makes sense that it would be a little more sluggish than Bank of America or Wells Fargo, right? So overall, though, like I said, this is still at least in play, right? You're definitely 1, 2, 3 days over this. Hey, if you can get over 720 and over the 50, you're going to run to 8. That's a 10% window right there, right? You know I love me some 10% window. So, yeah, all of these so far have been pretty all right, at least. Again, look, we're over the 8 on the weekly. I love seeing that. You know that. Hopefully, and again, you can see it, we tested it once, twice, and 3 times on the weekly. Hopefully we do break the 720 also, because it'll obviously happen on the weekly if it happens on the daily, and just gets us closer to that 20 on the weekly. But Rocket looking good. Just again, the more like fundamental companies, I would call it, right? The banks themselves seem to be doing a little better. Loan Depot, I remember being bullish on the last video on the 12th, and it's really shown, literally breaking every single one of my lines, and so far has gotten over that, 100. And look how long I'm zooming out so much. Oh my goodness. Oh my, literally. So this is the first day of the 100 moving average, because again, all these days were 99, 98, 1. Right? So this is the first time the stock is trading over the 100 moving average. That said, for whatever reason, today was pretty devastating and definitely took a lot of momentum out. I will say if we lose 161, I think it's almost certain it'll come down to 150. Nonetheless, hey, it's been a killer couple weeks, right? I did anticipate that one, so I'm glad that did matriculate out. But yeah, it looks like something happened. It looks like something pretty bad happened, and it's definitely starting to change the complexion of the lines. That said, if we're able to either bounce on the 8 or the 100, that'll be real good. And again, would be a sign of kind of coming up to this 200. Let me make a couple lines really quickly. There's definitely one right there. There's definitely one right there. And then, I guess I'll put one right in between those two. And then really from there, we're going to kind of come to this. Yeah, you got to take that into account. Right, I'm taking the top of that guy. I think that's pretty good here, actually. And then, yeah, the 200 right after that. Okay, cool. I'm liking that. Again, it really seems like this 161 is going to be a big test coming into tomorrow. Definitely do not like that RSI. And again, 66 is relatively low. This could have kept going up if it wanted to, right? I think I don't know if it was actually this resistance line or not, but either it was some news, maybe it was part of earnings, I don't know what it was, but yeah, I would, if you rode this, get ready to bank some profit, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, believe me. It's actually one of the best things you can do. Again, look, we know getting over the 20 is difficult. Showing confirmation is difficult, right? And again, that RSI is just, this could have kept going and running. Something happened. I'm assuming it's earnings. I really don't know. Honestly, I'm sure you can tell in this video, but I would get ready to make an exit plan again, unless for whatever reason we bounce here. But hey, beautiful 3-week run, right? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Last on the list is Lending Club. Oh man, that's horrible. Again, I don't know if this was because of earnings. I also feel like Lending Club tries to be the most, I don't know if I would say the most tech, right? But I think Lending Club, Rocket, and SoFi are in their own little bucket of trying to be this tech company in a DAO world. And then Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Loan Depot are just a little more standard, with Loan Depot kind of being like the newest one, right? I'll also say I added Loan Depot in this because like I've actually used them. I refinanced with them. They were actually really good. They gave me a way better rate than Rocket. So personally, I like Loan Depot. They took my money because it was actually the best value, right? So for me, it always adds a little bit if there's some like realness to it. But yeah, Lending Club just ugly, right? Obviously, while the others were going up, this was just still sitting super horizontal, and we not only lose the 8, but we like get this ugly confirmation, right? Because they wanted to come up. Someone bought it up here, and then it just dropped down here. Coming to the weekly, are we at all-time lows? We're not at all-time lows. There's still a lot lower this can go, and really, $9 seems very realistic right now. Be careful here. So yeah, overall, 5 of the 6 were really good. There's a lot of earnings coming out, so I'm sure a lot of those numbers are going to make these move one way or another. But yeah, 5 of 6 are definitely well worth looking at tomorrow morning. So have a great one. I hope you're learning. Thank you so much.